What is up, my leapfrogs? Flex Froggington here, ready to help you ribbit and rip it today. I am incredibly hyped to see you back at the channel. Grab your gallon water jugs and let us hydrate. Last episode, we promised to dive into the absolute foundation of your lifting career, bulletproofing your joints. We talked about fueling your body with the right macros last time, but what good is top-tier fuel in a rusted engine? Today we are tackling something that most gym bros completely ignore, until they literally cannot tie their own shoes. Mobility. You cannot generate explosive power or leap 15 feet in the air if your joints are completely locked up. Let me tell you a story about a guy I know. We will call him Stiff-Legged Steve the Salamander. Steve loved to squat heavy. He threw plate after plate on the barbell. He had the muscle, and he had the drive. But Steve sat at a desk all day. His ankles and hips were stiffer than a frozen lily pad in the dead of winter. One day, Steve goes for an absolute massive personal record. He drops down into the squat hole. But his ankles refuse to bend. His hips compensate to find depth. His lower back severely rounds out at the bottom. Snap! Steve pulls a muscle in his lower back and is out of the gym for 3 whole months. This is a totally preventable tragedy. Steve thought that just being strong was enough, ignoring how human joints actually work. Let us dive into the science. Most people confuse flexibility with mobility, but they are entirely different biological concepts. Flexibility is passive. It is your muscle's ability to stretch when an external force is applied, like gravity pulling you down. But mobility is active, powerful control. It is your nervous system driving a joint through its full range of motion. You can be as flexible as a rubber band, but without strength to control that range, you are just waiting to snap. Think of your joint as a complex biological hinge wrapped inside a tight protective capsule. Inside this capsule is a magical substance called synovial fluid. This is literally the synthetic motor oil for your biological engine. Synovial fluid lubricates your cartilage, allowing your heavy bones to glide perfectly past each other without causing any friction. But here is the major catch. Your body only produces and distributes this fluid when the joint actively moves. If you sit at a desk all day, barely moving your hips, your brain stops sending that lubricating fluid down there. Your tissues get sticky, dry, and glued together like old duct tape. This is where things start to get really dangerous. This brings us to fascia. Fascia is the dense connective tissue wrapping all your muscles, holding your body together. When you do not move, your fascia literally thickens and tightens to efficiently lock you into that exact seated position. So when you suddenly jump up and try to sprint, your dry joints and tight fascia scream in absolute panic. Your nervous system slams the emergency brakes. This protective braking mechanism is called the human stretch reflex. If your brain feels you do not have strength in a specific range of motion, it locks the muscles up completely. It does this to protect the joint from dislocating. Your stiffness is literally just your brain trying to save your life. So how do we fix this? How do we convince the nervous system to let go and lubricate our bodies? We have to apply the science in real life. Step 1 is the dynamic warm-up before you touch a single weight. I am not talking about holding a lazy toe touch for 30 seconds. I am talking about active, continuous movement. We need to get that synovial fluid pumping, deep bodyweight squats, lunges, and maybe a few light frog hops around the gym. By actively moving the joint, you heat up the body, melt that sticky fascia, and prove to your brain you are in control. Step 2 is lifting through a full range of motion. This is the ultimate mobility hack that people completely miss. When you do a bicep curl, lower it all the way down. When you squat, go as deep as your active mobility allows. We call this strength through length. Loading the muscle in its stretched position builds incredible resilience at the end ranges. When your brain realizes you are ridiculously strong at the absolute bottom of a squat, it permanently unlocks that mobility. It is essentially a biological cheat code to get more flexible while building massive amounts of muscle at the same time. Step 3 is dedicated mobility work. Have you ever heard of PAILs and RAILs? It stands for progressive and regressive angular isometric loading. Sounds incredibly complicated, right? It just means you go into a stretch and then actively contract your muscles against the floor. You are literally teaching your nervous system to fire at maximum capacity while the muscle is fully stretched out. Let us say you are in a deep lunge stretching your hip flexor. Instead of relaxing, push that knee into the ground. Push it as hard as you possibly can. This bridges the gap between passive flexibility and active bulletproof mobility. You are building dense, protective muscle tissue right in the exact position where your body is most vulnerable to a tear. And finally, we have step 4, static stretching. This is what you do after the workout is completely over. When the muscles are fully pumped and exhausted, doing deep, long holds helps calm your entire central nervous system down. It signals to your brain that the physical stress is over, the tiger is gone, and it is time to lengthen and recover. Do not skip this. 5 minutes of static stretching post-workout will vastly reduce your soreness for the next training session. Keep your tissue elasticity high. Bulletproofing your joints is not a random 30-day challenge you find on the internet. It is a fundamental part of the fitness lifestyle. Consistency is key. You have to move your joints every single day. You brush your teeth every day to keep them from rotting, right? Well, you have to move your joints to keep them from rusting. Even on your rest days, spend 10 short minutes moving your spine, rolling out your ankles, and opening up those hips. Make it an absolute habit. Do it while you watch television, or do it while you wait for your morning coffee to brew. Just keep the motor oil flowing. I promise you, if you dedicate yourself to active mobility, your heavy lifts will skyrocket. Your daily pain will disappear, and you will feel lighter and more energetic than a fresh tadpole in a spring pond. The days of waking up feeling like a crumpled up piece of paper are officially over. You are going to be unstoppable. So let us hop to it. Start incorporating dynamic warm-ups, full range lifting, and active end range holds into your routine today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe for more science-based gains, and keep those joints super juicy. Next episode, we are diving into cardio, heart health, and building an engine that never quits. Stay green and stay lean.